Hello everybody, today we are going to discuss A Thing of Beauty by John Keats. So you might have heard this name, this title actually, of course the poet as well, because this is quite an oft quoted, the first line of this poem, that is, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. It's an oft quoted line, is used in several places in articles and such. Even if you haven't heard, today we are going to discuss all that. So, this poem, the theme of this poem is, as you can see, that everything is beautiful. Beauty provides never ending joy, and beauty binds us to this earth. These are the things that the poet has tried to convey through this poem. So we are going to discuss all this, that how he has conveyed and expressed all these ideas here, the manner in which he has expressed. So let's see, without discussing further, let's directly come to the poem itself. So it is a thing of beauty, yes, but before starting this, I must tell you one more thing, that this poem actually is a drop, just a part, a piece of the longer version, that is Endymion. Yes, that is the original poem, Endymion, and this is just a piece from that, and that poem is in 4 parts, and each part contains 1,000 lines. Yes, that means in total it is 4,000 lines, and this is just we can say a drop from that, because as you can see, just some lines only. And this poet John Keats, he died at the age of 26 only, and he was a worshipper of beauty, as it was said about him. To him, it was like beauty is truth and truth is beauty, as he used to say. So he was that, we can say, had that belief in beauty, or that faith in this ideology, and all his poems center around this ideology, this belief. Okay. And one more thing, that this Endymion was a youth for whom the goddess of beauty prayed for eternal youth and eternal beauty. She prayed to God Zeus. I should say God Zeus, yes. She prayed to God Zeus to grant him what eternal beauty and eternal youth. She found him on some mountain sleeping there, and she was fascinated by the beauty of that youth. And this is just a piece of that story that I just told you. But here, okay, we don't have to go into the story. We have to understand the basic idea here and what the poet is trying to explain. So let's now begin. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It never passes into nothingness. So what does this mean? A thing of beauty is a joy forever. And how can a thing of beauty be joy forever? Have you ever thought about that? Is it really true that this can happen? That if something is beautiful, can go on providing joy forever? But yes, if something is truly beautiful, if something is really beautiful, then definitely it can go on providing joy forever. If, yes, it has that true beauty. So I'll give you an example. Just think of the wonders of the world. Think of the scriptures. That it's not that when they were built, they were beautiful only then. That these scriptures, that they were beautiful only when they were written. Years have passed, ages have passed, centuries have passed, and they are still beautiful. I said about the wonders of the world that even today people like to visit these monuments, great works of arts. Now, whether Taj Mahal or Great Wall of China or that Leaning Tower or so, people visit. So it's not that they were beautiful only when they were built. They still attract tourists from all over the world. People, yes, definitely would like to visit and would like to admire the beauty, would like to know that what is there in these monuments or works of art, would definitely like to have a look. And if not to the real places, at least in Kota, the seven wonders where these wonders have been recreated. So, yes, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. I was telling you about the scriptures. See, ages have gone, ages have passed, and even today, they are read, they are interpreted. People try to understand them, people quote from them. So, it means what? They are still relevant and people still enjoy those scriptures. If you just go to some religious congregations, you may see people just, waving or nodding their heads like this, enjoying those preachings and sermons. So, it means there is some beauty which still binds people, which attracts, fascinates people, and people like to listen to them. So, yes, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. Now, what does this mean? That if something is beautiful, then its loveliness, its beauty will go on increasing. Now, if we talk of physical beauty, the physical beauty decreases with the passage of time. But see, you can see the condition. No hair, and the physical beauty decreases, and even the color changes and all. But when we talk of the real beauty, the loveliness, the beauty goes on increasing. And how? See, you are the students of science. And earlier, if we move back in past, some years back only, we'll find what earlier there was just science. And today we have lots of disciplines and streams and branches. Today we have biotechnology, we have microbiology, we have cell biology, we have plant physiology, we have nanotechnology, we have so many branches. And how did that happen? We did that. We delved deep into it, and one brought micro, the other brought nano. And how? Actually, it was nothing else, just the beauty increased for us. And why I'm talking of all these things, let's talk about some easy, simple things. The things that you studied in your lower classes that was difficult for you to understand in one go, was difficult for you to learn and cram. You used to, forget them. And today, if you look back, you can explain those things to others. So why? The beauty hasn't gone. The loveliness has increased. And why even talk of that? The subjects that you are studying now, that perhaps you don't understand them in one go, in one time. But when you look back, you get something more. When you look at it again, you get something more. Every time you look at that, every time you study that, every time you go back, every time you come out with something new. So is what? Loveliness increasing. So yes, the things that have real beauty, that beauty goes on increasing in proportion to your mind and your understanding and your intellect, your experience. With increase in your experience, in your understanding, that beauty also increases. It means what? That you are able to see what you were not able to see earlier. So what? The beauty increases. Yes, that's how it is. And what? It never passes into nothingness. So the real beauty can never be zero. 1564, Shakespeare was born. And today we are in 2020, and even today, I don't think there'll be anybody here in the class or like in your class or some who has undergone a bit of education that who will ask that who is this man? Who? This Shakespeare? I never heard. Nobody, not a single one. He is that much alive and he is that much around us. Why? His works have made him immortal. And it's not a matter of just a year or two or just even a decade or two. 1564 and here we are in 2020, so centuries. And even today he is that much alive. So yes, real beauty can never be zero, it can never perish, it can never die, it is immortal, it is timeless. Yes, it is timeless. And why Shakespeare, the poem, John Keats? He too was born in 1795. And today we are discussing that. So, yes, the true beauty never perishes. It can never come to nothingness, can never be zero. But will keep a bar quite for us. So here, it is a metaphorical expression. Yes, it still will keep a bower quite for us. So, it's a metaphorical expression. And how? So just as we find peace in a bower, in a garden, in an orchard. Bower means garden or orchard. So just as we find peace in a bower or a garden, similarly, the moment we see or understand beauty, we are at peace with ourselves. We are at peace with the world around. Yes. So beauty gives us peace. That's what the writer is. Just as there is, calm and all quiet, there is tranquility in the garden. Similarly, when the moment we see beauty, we are at peace. So, but we'll keep a bar quite for us and a sleeve full of sweet dreams and good health and quiet breathing. So, yes, if we have seen beauty, if we have perceived beauty, then everything will be fine, all good. We'll have good sleep, we'll have sweet dreams, our health will be all fine, we'll be in the pink of our health, and quiet breathing, that means we'll be all relaxed, comfortable, cozy. And if the reverse of this happens, and why this happens actually? Because you have perceived beauty. And when you have perceived beauty, you are happy about that. You are happy doing that. See, you are doing something. If something is given to you, or if you are engaged in something in which you see beauty, you perceive that beauty, then there will be no problem. You will be happy doing that. You will enjoy that. But if something is imposed upon you, or you are engaged in something you don't see beauty within, then definitely you'll be bored. You won't like to do that. You will definitely would like to come out of that. Just as, see, if you go on doing certain exercise, say, and you go on getting the answers, you feel happy. Suppose you are doing physics and you get the answers, you feel happy. Oh, that yes, wow. You just pat yourself and you just do this kind of things and you feel so happy about that. And you don't realize You don't realize time taking away. You are that engrossed in that. You don't realize. So that is beauty, that what? It takes you out of all those worries. And you are immersed in that happiness. That's why good sleep, full of sweet dreams, good health, and all relaxed. So that is what happens when we perceive beauty. As I said, if it is not, then you'll be all frustrated, you will be all angry. Even in sleep, you will be like muttering and murmuring something, like trying to revenge upon that person or that thing. So it will be like that. So, full of sweet dreams, health, and quiet breathing. And now the poet says, therefore are we reading, on every morrow are we reading a flowery band to bind us to this earth. Now here, this was an example of metaphor, and this is an example of what? Inversion. This is an example of inversion. Now what is inversion? You can see that this could be we are reading. That is the proper way of writing the sentence. But here we have written this in inverted way. So that is called inversion, when you put this verb before the subject instead of placing it the otherwise. So that is called inversion, right? So therefore on every morrow are we reading a flowery band to bind us to this earth. Therefore, what for? Because beauty is essential for us, therefore. We cannot live without beauty, therefore. That without beauty, life becomes all monotonous and dull, therefore. Therefore, we are doing this. Now, suppose you don't have to do anything, you just have to do what? Just get up, have your daily routines, meals, and just go back to sleep and do nothing. No work. Just enjoy. So, okay, maybe for a day, two, maybe for a week, for a month, for a year? No, of course. We'll be bored to death. We want something. So you, like some find beauty in science, some find beauty in arts, or some find beauty in something else. For some it is like, okay, one expects one to be the future minister, chief minister, so and so what? He finds beauty in that, and that keeps him moving. That, okay, let's go and have a picketing there, have some picketing there. Okay. So that beauty actually keeps you going, binds us to this earth. What does that mean? So the poet is, let me explain, because literally it means what? We need beauty in our life, therefore what we are doing every morrow, means every other day, every tomorrow, we are collecting small flowers. We are making garland of that. Are we reading a flowery band? We are reading a flowery band means we are making a garland of flowers to connect us to this earth, to stay connected to this earth. That is just a literal meaning, but there is something implied, and what is that? Know that beauty is essential for us, and that's why what we are doing daily, every other day, we try to collect small pleasures. Yes. We try to collect small pleasures. And we make a garland of that. That actually keeps us going. Otherwise, it becomes difficult. See, it's a long journey. So, what? Now you have your beauty before you, what? That yes, I want to be a doctor. That keeps you going. That I want to be an engineer. That keeps you going. That is the beauty before you. But I said it's a long journey. So what in between? We need those small flowers. Those small pleasures. That's how we make this garland. And what are those pleasures? Say, you are in a class and the teacher just put up a question and you were the first to answer that and you feel so happy and proud. Oh, superb. I am the super intelligent. There's nobody at par. So what you feel happy. It gives you a boost. That acts as a driving force, pushes you ahead. So small pleasure. That you perform very good in the test. You feel happy, that in the last one, I didn't study, that's why I just lagged behind. But see, I have shown that what I am and who I am. So this is actually I have. Who are you? You are nothing, just in front of me. So what? That gives you a push. So it's all about how and when, in what you see the beauty. And that keeps you going, that keeps you connected to this earth. So we need to see beauty in something. So that's what the poet is saying, that without beauty, life becomes all monotonous and dull, mechanical, listless. We need beauty, and every other day, every tomorrow, what we are doing, we are trying to collect those small pleasures to go ahead, keep going. Otherwise, life will be all dull. And now the poet says, spite of despondence. Now he's talking about the other aspect of life. Spite of despondence, inhuman dearth of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of the unhealthy and over-darkened ways made for our searching. So what does that mean? Made for our searching, that means when we search around, when we look around, what do we find? We find all these things. What? Spite or despondence. Spite, malice, malice, hatred, despondence, dejection, disappointment, sadness, depression. So, malice or malice due to that. Hatred due to disappointment. So when we look around, we see the world like this, that there is malice, there is hatred, there is disappointment there is lack of what? Nobility, noble people, noble deeds. When we look around, we see that noble people and noble deeds are rare and scarce to be found. We don't see them easily. We don't find the noble people or noble deeds easily. We say we are living in such a world, such times. It's difficult to find good things and good people of the noble natures. And what? Then there is gloom all around. That is, gloom means sadness, gloom means darkness. So that there is darkness, there is sadness, there are troubles and tribulations, sorrows. People are living a wretched life. And what? Of all the unhealthy and over-darkened ways. That means the ways of the world are full of wickedness and crookedness. Unhealthy, there is sickness and disease. So yes, when we cast our glances around, when we look about in this world, just around us, so many problems are prevailing, so many problems are there, that there is fight, there is, this despondence, depression, there is disappointment, there is lack of noble people, noble deeds, there is gloom, darkness, there's troubles and tribulations, there are sorrows, and there is wretchedness and miseries, that there is sickness, there are diseases, and the ways of the world are full of evil and sin and wickedness and crookedness. Yes, the world is full of all these things. All these things. But in spite of all, yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall. So what does that mean? That yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall. That though these are the things around us, still, if we are able to see beauty, if we are able to perceive beauty, beauty has the power. Beauty has the power that it can lift us up from all that gloom and all that sorrow and all that darkness. Beauty has that power. Yes, it can just take away all that sorrow from our lives. And how is that? Suppose you were doing some problem, some question, something, and it has been around, just 15 minutes, half an hour, and even more than that, and you are doing and doing and doing, and you are not getting the answer. You get frustrated finally, you just tear up the paper, you just crumple it up and throw it in a corner, just, hit the table and you just hit the wall and you just crush your pain and do all these, and suddenly what happens, that answer clicks. You get the answer, and the smile that comes on your face at that moment, the sigh of relief. You don't think of all that 1 hour or so that you wasted or you just spent in doing that. No, you are only happy and you feel that, oh, how fool I am, that I couldn't get even that small thing. No, how silly of me. How simple it was, and I couldn't think of that. How? So you just smile and smile only. You feel that happy. So why? The moment you perceive beauty, there is only happiness. That in this struggle, in this journey, that you are in a journey, and this your target, your destination. You want to reach there, and in between, to some, because people are under different conditions, some have financial crunches and difficulties and problems, still they are moving, and in between they have certain deviations, certain such thoughts that I should leave it because I'm facing so many problems, so it's better than switch on to something else, think of something else. It's not for me and all. But when you finally achieve the target, when you are finally at your goal or at your destination, you don't think of that journey and ups and downs and all. You are only happy and happy and happy. You forget all those troubles and problems. So beauty has that power. The moment you perceive beauty, you are out of all those problems. And you only smile, you are only happy. So that is the power of beauty. Here, what this move away the pall. Pall means cover. So it takes away the cover of sorrow and problems from our lives. So beauty has that power. Now here is poet is enlisting different beautiful things. As you can see, such the sun, the moon, the trees old and young, sprouting a shady boon for a simple sheep. So these are different beautiful things that the poet has enlisted, and not just these, even further. He's enlisting, he has enlisted different beautiful things. So what does that mean actually, and what he is trying to convey here? Moreover, you can see here we have an example of alliteration as well, such the sun. So this is an example of alliteration. Sir, right? That sound is there, that consonant sound is being repeated. So such the sun, the moon, the poet is trying to say these are all beautiful things. The sun is beautiful, the moon is beautiful, trees whether old or young, they are all beautiful, just spreading and sprawling their branches and providing shade to all the beings. So how beautiful that everything is important, playing their own role and playing their own part. So that is the beauty of nature, beauty showered upon us by God Himself. So we need to understand and perceive that beauty around us. That's what and here the poet has used what? The word sheep. What does this mean? spreading for simple sheep. Now, this is an example of divine beauty. As Jesus Christ, he was a herder and he would take out goats and sheep for grazing. So here actually this sheep is we human beings, and Jesus Christ, God, is the herder, and so he is guiding us. He is taking us towards or leading us towards our destination. So that's what it means. And then he says, and such are daffodils with the green world they live in. So they too are beautiful. How daffodils, kind of flowers. So how these daffodils, they too are beautiful, surrounded by the green environment, or say the plants and vegetation in which they live. There is a different kind of beauty. They make the onlookers happy with their fragrance and their beauty, just kind of giving a message to the society that how even a short life can be made meaningful. So yes, it's a different kind of beauty. And then what such are the rills, as you can see. Yes, clear rills. Clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make. So cooling covert, this is again an example of alliteration. So the clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. Now here this apostrophe sign means A has been made silent here. Just this is done in the poem, or just to for the sake of melody and to match the music and the rhythm. So that is the purpose here, just to match the meter. Now meter you perhaps don't know because it's not in your course. So meter is all about the stress pattern in the poem. So to match the rhythm and the musicality of the poem, we use such kind of things. So here he says that, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make gains the hot season. That means these rills, small rivers, streams. So there grow up what plants and trees and shrubs and herbs, and what they do, they provide shade and shelter from the scorching heat of the sun. They protect the aquatic life there and the surrounding there from the blazing heat of the sun. They screen. So how beautiful. What a play of beauty is there in nature, that nature protecting itself and even the surrounding. So yes, it's really beautiful. And then further the poet says, the mid-forest brake rich with the sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. Now the mid-forest brake, the poet is trying to say that you cannot limit beauty. By all this, he is trying to explain that you cannot limit beauty, you cannot confine beauty. Beauty can be anywhere, in any form, in any way. Like you can find a very beautiful and very fragrant flower where? In the middle of the forest. Mid-forest brake. Brake is what? The fern-like things. Those small moss-like plants, vegetation, they are called brakes. And the students of biology better understand that. So, what the mid-forest brake, rich with the sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. Musk, is found in the navel of a deer. And it is said to have such an intense fragrance that just a fine particle can make the whole atmosphere fragrant. So, it means that you can find such a fragrant flower, such a beautiful flower, where? In the middle of the forest. That means you cannot confine beauty. It can be anywhere, in any way, in any form. And then what? Further, the poet says, and such too is the grandeur of dooms. Now strange here, how that the poet is saying there is beauty, grandeur means splendor, majesticity, and here it is simply in terms of beauty. So there is beauty even in death. How strange, isn't it? How come death be beautiful? That can we say, or do we ever say that how beautifully he has died? Not at all, never. Now here, of course, it is not that. The poet is trying to say that death can be beautiful, yes, if it is for some noble cause, if it can inspire, if it can inspire millions, if it can reserve some space in the hearts and minds of millions of people. So yes, that beauty, that death can be beautiful. So he's talking of those people who actually sacrificed their lives for some noble cause. The mighty people here are those mighty kings, and the martyrs who just died for some noble cause. Just remember the death of Bhagat Singh and people such Rajguru and Sukhdev, who when died, like there was a kind of movement in the whole of country. So it's about those people that when they were being led to the scaffold, they were singing, they were not at all afraid, and people who were there or who heard about their this hanging and all, they were ready to die in place of them, saying that yes, I am Bhagat Singh, hang me up. So that death, such a death, that can be really what I can say beautiful. And then the poet says, all lovely tales that we have heard or read. All the lovely tales that we have heard or read are like what an endless fountain of immortal ring pouring unto us from heaven's brink. Now here we have a comparison, an endless fountain. Beauty has been compared here, or we can say here in simple terms, it is all lovely tales. These are compared with what? Endless fountain of immortal drink. So this is an example of metaphor. Right? This is an example of metaphor, and we can say it is being exaggerated, but rather than being exaggerated, it is a metaphor, I should say. And the poet, what he is actually trying to convey here, all lovely tales. So all those stories now, whether that is thirsty crow or lion and mouse or fox and crane, grapes are sour, lion and four wolves, all those stories, now whether they are in your course or not, but we know them, we have heard them, and they are still circling around us. All such stories, yes, they are lovely, and they are what? They are beautiful. They are like what? Endless fountain of immortal drink. Just as that immortal drink is that God's drink, that is the ambrosia, the nectar, the elixir, which is said to be what? Unending, ceaseless, unceasing. Similarly, the beauty around us is unceasing. It will ever be there. It is something like what? As if God Himself is pouring upon us, showering upon us from heaven itself. The word brink here means what? The edge. Now, as if God Himself is showering all those beautiful things from heaven itself. So as that can never end, just the same, similarly, beauty can never cease to exist. It will always be there, and it is there. We just need to perceive that beauty. We just need to understand that beauty. That is the idea of beauty that the poet Keats wants to propagate and wants to tell us. So this is the whole poem, a thing of beauty. This is how the poet has conveyed everything, his idea of beauty, what he thought of beauty in this poem. Now let's discuss some important questions from this poem which have been asked in your exam and can further be asked. So let's see. How can mighty dead be things of beauty? So mighty dead is about those people who sacrifice their lives for some noble cause. It may be like the great kings who did great deeds and then died for some noble things, noble causes. And also the martyrs who actually sacrificed their lives for the sake of independence and such. So how can these mighty dead be things of beauty? So the poet is trying to say that by sacrificing their lives for some noble cause, they can be thing of beauty. Means like for dying for something very noble, doing something very noble, sacrificing themselves, their lives for something very noble. That can make them think of beauty. And that's how it is. Mention any four things of beauty that add joy to our life. So what are those things of beauty? So the poet has enlisted different beautiful things. We can give example of sun, moon, trees, daffodils, clear rills. So any four. Mention any two things that cause pain and suffering. So in the second part of the poem, we discussed about what we can say that despondence, so spite of despondence, that of noble nature and the other things. So that is what we can add here. Spite of despondence, lack of or paucity of noble people and noble deeds. Also gloom, gloomy days, that, and also what, unhealthy and over darkened ways. So different points we have, just two are to be mentioned. What does a thing of beauty do for us? A thing of beauty provides us peace. It gives us good sleep, sound sleep, and we have good dreams, and such we are in perfect health. Moreover, we are all relaxed. So the points that were mentioned in the poem, just from them we have to take. It adds joy to our life. In simple terms, if we say, it adds joy to our lives, and it makes our lives worthwhile and all that. We can explain this to a great extent, but yes, according to the poem, just some of the points are to be taken. What makes human beings live life in spite of all troubles they face? So the beauty around us and the beauty in our life that make men or human beings live life in spite of, say, troubles they face. Because there is beauty in any form, every form around us in our lives. We just need to perceive that beauty, and that beauty gives us joy, that beauty gives us happiness, that beauty makes us connected to this planet, to this earth. It gives purpose and meaning to our life. So that's how that beauty makes human beings love life, and that's how that as we discussed, that I told you while discussing the poem that you have your beauty, or you have perceived your beauty, and that is that you want to be a doctor or you want to be an engineer, and you follow that dream. So that beauty actually just makes you go on and on and on pursuing your goal. So this is what the writer is saying. And how do beautiful things help us to live a happy life? Simply by adding joys to our life, giving meaning and purpose to our life, just making our life worthwhile, all those things, just what we discussed earlier. What does Keats consider an endless fountain of immortal drink, and why does he call its drink immortal? So, all lovely tales, according to the poet, all lovely tales are what? Endless fountain of immortal drink. In other terms, whatever that is beautiful, or that provides us beauty, or that we perceive as beautiful, what are endless fountain of immortal drink. And why does he call its drink immortal? Because just as immortal, or say God's drink, that is ambrosia or elixir, just as that is endless, similarly beauty is endless, or beautiful things are endless. They can never cease to exist. They are unstoppable. They are unceasing. So how is a thing of beauty a joy forever? A thing of beauty is a joy forever as it goes on providing joy forever, limitlessly, endlessly, and infinitely. It is ever relevant. It is ever relevant. I just gave you example of monuments of the world, the wonders of the world, different scriptures and all. And as those scriptures and the wonders of the world are still there, and people all over the world wish to visit those places, or just like to go through those scriptures. So the reason is they are still relevant, and there is something that can never fade, or that can never diminish, or that can never mitigate. So that is how a thing of beauty, a joy forever, that it goes on for ages and infinitely, it goes on providing joy. Yes. What images does the poet use to describe the beautiful bounty of the earth? So to describe the beautiful bounty of the earth, I already mentioned those things like sun, moon, trees, daffodils, rills, and these are the things, and moreover then mid-forest brake, rich with the sprinkling of fair musk rose bloom. So these are the images that the poet has used to describe the beautiful bounty of nature. So I hope this is all clear. The poem was also very much clear. You might have understood everything. So that's it about this A Thing of Beauty. Thank you very much.